And something I did not forget is wins in the illustrious career of our Hall of Fame guest joining us now, the GOAT of women's golf, maybe one of the GOATs in the history of sports in general, Annika Sörenstam. How you doing today, Annika?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing great.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. You are, well, there's a few reasons we have you on, Annika, but the first one is you, coincidentally, your husband is from East Palestine, correct?
Correct.
Did I pronounce it right? It is Palestine, right? Not Palestine, correct?
If you're local, you know it's East Palestine and not. That's kind of the sign of if you know where you're from or not.
Okay, I got you. And so you are doing a fundraiser to raise money after the terrible train accident that took place there. Tell us more about it, please.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, first of all, for having me. Yeah, so obviously when it happened, a few months ago, we were just in shock. Couldn't believe that this was happening in this country. It was happening in Mike's, his hometown, and the devastation of these people living there from all kinds of perspectives. Mike said, I want to do something, I'll do something. And eventually we said, well, why don't we do a golf tournament, raise some money, raise some awareness and give these people some love. So it's now Annika Fore East Palestine. So we're putting a golf day together. And, obviously we feel very fortunate to be able to do that. And Ed Maransky, who is the kind of the owner of the lake club, Mike called him and he said, sure, I'm in, what can I do? So we now have this golf tournament. May 15th is coming up just in a few days. We'll be there. We got other celebrities there. We have people helping out, obviously raising a lot of money, and all the money is going to go to United Way of Youngstown. I'm reading here because I'm going to make sure I'm saying it right. Pass through the way station, because this is so important. I mean, these people are stuck in this town. Many of them own homes. They can't sell it. Nobody's moving to East Palestine. So how can we help provide some support? And I think we're going to be able to do that through this golf tournament. So we're super excited and obviously very thankful for all the support and coverage so far. But this is a big deal. We want to do something.
Annika, when you look at East Palestine and just, some of the things that's been going on there for years, do you think that there is, I would say, the media, and especially the sports media, does not really necessarily bring that much light to it? I think a lot of people don't kind of understand what the plight of is in East Palestine and in the Middle East in general. And do you think that we should be talking more about things that happen there, and kind of shed light on some of the different things that are going on, and people who are trying to help like yourself?
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly feel like nobody really knows what the future is going to be, because this have not happened before, and I think brushing it, under the mat. But if you've talked to locals, I mean, they're having all kinds of diseases showing up, and the fish are dying in the lakes, and the birds are flying off the trees and landing on the ground, and kids are just feeling super insecure. And I mean, I think this needs to be addressed for not just for East Palestine, but for the future of this country, knowing like if something like this happened, what can we do? We got to prevent this. I think it's a very toxic environment, in a lot of different ways. And, the more we can bring this to the forefront, the better. And I mean, of course, we're happy we have some partners to help us out doing this, but I think people understand the urgency, the importance of something like this. I know we've had some other train derailment since, and it just seems like, okay, this is just another hum day, but this is not for these locals. I mean, this is their livelihood. This is where they make their home. And so, I just feel like this is one way to do it and bring people together. And, I know Ohio is known for, they're known for the bond, and they're known for supporting each other. And I know that East Palestine and even, the Lake Club, I mean, everybody's just so excited to be able to do something.
Annika, you're being a golf legend. Talk about some of the things that you had to overcome, being a female golfer. And is there any advice that you could give, female golfers that's looking to follow your steps?
Well, thank you very much. I mean, obviously, I'm very lucky to have turned my hobby into a lifestyle and something I enjoy doing. And, I've been traveling around the world, living my dream as much as possible. And when I joined the tour in 1994, I really didn't know I could win a single golf tournament. And obviously, looking back, it's been a terrific career, and I'm super proud of it. And, I just think of, other young girls that I mentor through the Annika Foundation is, try to live your dream, work hard. There are no shortcuts to success. Go out there with a vision and believing in yourself, and I think that's important, not just, as a golfer, obviously, but anything you want to do in life. But it's, it's the commitment and the discipline, and, doors open. And I know for a fact that a lot of athletes, young girls especially, if they have a sports background, whether it's high school or college, they're going to do really well in business. A lot of C-suite positions are filled with athletes. So we just try to encourage and motivate, the next generation of young girls to do it, because I think it's going to help them. And, I look at the things that I'm doing now. I mentioned the foundation, I mentioned some of the other businesses I do. And I'm proud to say that Fizzy Bees is the new vodka-based classic cocktails that we're making. And they're going to be a big supporter of Annika Fore East Palestine. So if you're going to head out there, people that are listening, can enjoy Cosmo, Margarita, Mosca Mule, Mojito. It's our treat. And, it's going to be a terrific day.
You guys use honey instead of sugar, is that correct?
Yeah, we use organic honey, and because my husband Mike, he has a lot of allergies. So instead of putting sugar in, he puts honey in his tea, and it's really killed all his allergies, so to speak. He doesn't have any allergies anymore. So I said, why don't we make cocktails with honey? Make it somewhat a healthier drink in your area. Just so you can buy in Heinen's and Bueller's and Drug Mart. There's a few places to find them in your area. Ohio is actually our first state to introduce Fizzy Bees. So yeah, we try to be, a healthy choice for people. We're actually going to sponsor the Lake Erie Crushers. Also, they're starting, their season, as you know, just in a few days. To be able to do that.
So Annika, how did you get into that? Are you guys, connoisseurs of spirits? Do you, like wine, or how did you get into, just the distribution and creation of something like Fizzy Bees?
Yeah, good question, because it certainly wasn't on my radar if you asked me a few years ago. I think COVID brought it out. Yeah, COVID brought it out of us. We were just kind of a little bit bored at home, and I like to cook, though, and I studied nutrition in school, but we do like to have a good time and entertain. So, we started to make some drinks at home in the kitchen, because we felt like the RTDs, which are ready to drink cocktails out there, they really didn't have any flavor. A lot of them were watered down. It was just like sparkling water with a little touch of something. But then we looked for other drinks, and they had 360 calories and 30 grams of sugar. And I looked at my husband, Mike. I said, there has to be something in between. And I said, if we can't find them, we're going to make our own. And you can imagine, he just shook his head and said, sweetie, we don't need any more projects. You're such a busy bee. Well, that's really how this name came about and how the drinks came about. And so we made them in Ohio. We hired a marketing company in Ohio, and now we're selling, full force in Cleveland, Columbus, and down in Cincinnati and Toledo. So we use Superior up in your area, and it's been a great partnership, and hope to continue to pollinate a little bit more.
I got to tell you, I interviewed when you were early in your career, and I was in college. I was in college from 96 to 2000, and you were in a tournament. I don't even remember where it was. It was somewhere in upstate New York, and you were in a tournament. I remember Nancy Lopez was there toward, later in her career, and I interviewed you. I interviewed her. It was an amazing experience for me in college to be able to interview professional athletes. And you were all so nice. I was in a scrum of a bunch of different reporters, but my experience, especially earlier in my career when I was a little nervous and inexperienced, it was much easier to interview women's athletes, because generally they were nicer to you than the men's athletes were. And I remember you being very nice, and Nancy Lopez, who had been playing for a long time, had been very nice, and that was a great experience. So 20, 30 years later almost, I'd like to say thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And I can tell you, I'm sure I was nervous too. So I think both of us have come a long way. So I feel like we can handle this a little better now with a little practice and a little experience.
That's right. Mikey, go ahead.
Annika, I have a friend who works in the content department with the LPGA. So I texted her this morning and asked, hey, we have the GOAT on with us today. What do I have to ask her about? And she alerted me to the fact that you have your own tournament now on the LPGA Tour, called the Annika. That's the biggest flex in the history of the world. The tournament just named after you in your honor.
True.
Did you come up with that name yourself? Did they approach you with the name just to name it the Annika, or how did it come to the conclusion that we're just going to name it, if she's the greatest women's golf forever, we're just going to call the tournament the Annika?
Well, thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. Actually, I'm going to give my husband all the credit. 100% goes to him. He's been trying to get a tournament for me for a long time, just to continue the legacy and my partnership with the LPGA, but also raise awareness for the Annika Foundation. We are the main a beneficiary of the event. But yes, you're right. It's going to be in Tampa at the Pelican. It's driven by Gamebridge. So we have great supporters, great owners, and I'm super excited. It's obviously an honor to put my name on a tournament like that. So hopefully this will be many years to come. But thanks for pointing that out.
Annika, our executive producer was telling us a story that apparently one time you were being introduced at the beginning of an event, and somebody said, here's one of the greatest women's golfers of all time. And then somebody from the crowd, I guess, spoke up and said, she's the best of all time. And it was Jack Nicklaus, right?
Yeah, well, thank you. I'll take that compliment. It's funny you mentioned that because we were actually heading down to Jupiter or West Palm area to meet the Nicklaus, and our kids were very small at that time, and I was going to hang out with Mr. Nicklaus to do something with some other people, and then my husband introduced our kids to, this is Barbara, this is, Jack's wife, and he's the best golfer ever, and our son turned to daddy and said, no, mommy's the best golfer.
Annika, do you got any tips for me?
He's a terrible golfer.
Listen.
Wait, before he asks this question.
Oh, yeah, she's got to see the video.
Give me the swing. We have the greatest maybe
She's gotta
golfer
see
of all
this.
time.
She don't need to see
Time
it.
is
No, she
back.
has to
For
see
you
it.
You don't
who
need to
played
see
in the
it.
NFL.
Oh, my
How would you
God.
rate his golf swing here?
Oh, my
You can play it, Anthony.
All right, let me see. Okay, set up. Oh,
And yes, the club did go flying into the water.
in it.
It was.
Don't you do work on balance in football?
I had some popcorn that day, and it was hot. My hands were sweaty. I was nervous. This was actually my first time swinging on a live golf course.
Can you give him some
I did
tips?
Top Golf a lot, like 2 times before this, but this was the first time I was live in action, and that was my first swing ever. And yeah, that's how it went.
Well, then I'm going to give you a mulligan. It looks pretty good. But next time, focus a little bit on your posture. When you finish, make sure you kind of turn your whole body to the target. Other than that, keep it up.
See that?
Turn your whole body.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. No.
Nah.
That's what she telling me.
She just being
PGA
nice.
Tour is not calling you.
Hey, listen, if I hold on to the club, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, you would have hit it 50 yards. Yeah. Annika, what is your favorite golf movie of all time? Do you have one?
Oh, Probably Happy Gilmore is pretty funny. I've seen it a few times. It's funnier the more often you see it. I mean, it's just I wouldn't say they make fun of golf, but, for people that might not understand, I think they really get the hang of it. I think so. It's kind of fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
It gives you a laugh.
I mean, the best scene is when Bob Barker beats the crap out of Adam Sandler in the celebrity tournament. Tell us again, before we let you go, Annika, tell us again about what's going on in East Palestine and how people can get involved.
Yes, please tune in. It's Annika Fore East Palestine. It's our fundraiser. May 15th. It's going to be at the Lake Club in Poland. And Fizzy is a sponsor. We got some celebrities coming. Jim Tressel, Bob Stoops, Warren Sapp to be there. You can participate. We have a website. Obviously, go to AnnikaForeEastPalestine.com, I believe. Check it out. We appreciate any support, money, resources, gifts, whatever, or just talk about it and spread the word. It's coming up on Monday here, the 15th.
Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck with the tournament and raising money for a worthy cause. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and keep having fun.
Thank